Hello everyone, so today's video is going to be a review on the book The Devil Wears Prada by Lauren Weisberger. And I have seen the movie before I read the book, and it's one of my favorite movies. I really enjoy watching it, so I decided to read the book because I thought I would enjoy it as well. And so if you haven't seen the movie, the basic plot summary is it's about a girl named Andrea. She's just gotten out of college and she wants to work at a magazine and be a writer. And so she kind of looks around for jobs. She's not that lucky, but she does get interviewed at a fashion magazine called Runway to be an assistant for Miranda Priestley, and she's the editor-in-chief of the fashion magazine. So she's a very high-ranking person in the magazine industry. And so Andrea decides to take this job because she knows that if she works for a year for Miranda, then she'll be able to get a job at a magazine that she actually wants to work at, which in this case, she wants to work at the New Yorker, which is not a fashion magazine, but she thinks that the experience she'll get from working at Runway will eventually help her reach her end goal. So as Andrea starts working at the magazine, she realizes it is much more difficult than she expected. She doesn't do any writing tasks or anything like that. She's just Miranda's assistant. So she does everything that Miranda needs. Gets her coffee, gets her breakfast in the morning, and kind of micromanages every tiny detail of her life. And if you've seen the movie, Miranda is played by Meryl Streep, and she is incredibly demanding and just the most impossible boss ever. So it's kind of fun to read about still in the book about the crazy things that Andrea has to put up with and do. And I just thought it was some of the parts are just really funny because it's so outrageous, the expectations that Miranda sets for her. So if you see the movie, you know that what ends up happening is the job just becomes so consuming of Andrea's life that her friends start to get annoyed with her. They don't understand why she's always so consumed by this job and why she always thinks it's so important. And because they just thought of her as someone who wanted to be a writer, not into fashion at all. So they're kind of confused about this. And I think one of the differences between the book and the movie is that the book definitely focused on Andrea's relationships outside of working at Runway more, whereas the movie focused more on her life at Runway and her coworkers and the people that she met there. So the book definitely focused on her friends and her living situation and her boyfriend. And so in the book she has a best friend named Lily, whereas in the movie I don't think she did, or they didn't. Like, she had friends in the movie, but they weren't highlighted as much as in the book. And in the book you definitely get to learn more about her friends and kind of their own personalities and kind of what's going on in their lives and how that affects their interpretation of Andy's situation. And also I felt like in the book I liked her friends much more. You also get to meet her family, so that is kind of nice about the book that the movie didn't go into. The movie didn't go into her. I think the movie had her meet like her father one time or something, but the book definitely describes her sister and her brother-in-law and then her parents and just kind of that whole family dynamic, and then also her friend that she lives with, her best friend Lily, and then her boyfriend Alex. So I definitely liked them more than I did in the movie. In the movie I just kind of saw them as annoying because they didn't understand Andrea. I felt like they didn't really cut her some slack that she needed, and they weren't very understanding people. They were kind of annoying. They made fun of her. So I kind of I just didn't really like them in the movie. But in the book, I really got to see their side of the story a lot more and kind of their own individual personalities. And so it kind of made sense of how they got frustrated with Andrea. So I definitely identified with her friends much more in the book than in the movie. Another difference between the book and the movie is the ending and kind of what happens. The book's ending is definitely a lot more unexpected. Well, I guess you can kind of predict that something's going to happen, but it's not the same event that prompts the ending of the movie. If you could I don't want to spoil anything, but something happens at the end of the book that doesn't happen at the end of the movie, although it kind of has the same outcome. So overall, I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. I definitely liked it. I enjoyed reading it. I loved reading about just her working at the fashion magazine and just the things Miranda would have her do. I just thought they were so outrageous and funny, so it was a very entertaining read. Another cool thing about the book is that it brings up the question, you know, what's more important? Is your family more important, your relationship with your family and friends, or is it your job? Because Andy faces this decision, like she's after this really important position that she wants to get, and she knows that if she just finishes out this year at this job, she'll be able to get promoted and do what she really wants to do. But there comes a point in the story where she has to decide, is that all worth it, or is her family and friends worth more than that? And I think that's something really important to consider, especially nowadays. We live in a really individualistic society that kind of values like you and your own goals, and that's kind of more important than your friends or your family, and that you should really be working, you know, for yourself and for your own goals, and not let other people's problems, you know, don't make other people's problems your problems. I think that's kind of the thing people value nowadays. So I think this book brought up a really good question, and I definitely enjoyed it. So I would recommend that you read it, especially if you like the movie and you like reading about, you know, fashion magazines. So I did enjoy this book. Let me know in a comment below if you've read it and what your thoughts were, and also any other suggestions of books you would like me to review in the future. And I will see you guys in my next review.